I finish my commentary, I go for a run, I come back, I click on the machine again, and I see gold's down $2 and silver's knocked down a fair amount, 6 cents. Nobody was around. and I wrote it down at the time and mentioning it today in my commentary and sure enough, today what happens, gold gets hit pretty good and silver just gets clobbered today. And this kind of stuff and tipping off what they're going to do and moving the markets when people aren't around, it's happened for year after year after year.
In the 1990s, he created a billion-dollar copper producer. In the 2000s, he launched what would become one of the world's top primary silver producers. And in 2015, he started what he believes will be his third billion-dollar company. This is the one gold stock to research right now. Visit futuremoneytrends.com/investright.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into CrushTheStreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri, and I'm joined today with Bill Murphy of GATA. He has his own website as well, La Metropole Cafe. He's such a passionate and great guy, and he's just been fighting this fight against precious metals manipulation for years now. And the truth is, he will be vindicated, him and his partner, when this whole thing, this manipulation gets busted. People are going to have to give them the credit as being just on the forefront of exposing the fraud and getting out in front of the public and warning people and educating as many people as possible. So today I wanted to have him on the show to give him an opportunity to just spread the word and just to expose what is going on by central banks and what is going on with precious metals. So Bill, thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show with me today.
Great to be here, Ken. Thank you.
Bill, let's talk about here. We're right in between the holidays. Christmas just passed and New Year's. And again, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me during this time. Let's talk about what happened Friday. Most markets have been closed and people were celebrating. And what happened after the close of the COMEX with no one around?
Well, it's the kind of thing that galls me, and I just don't understand some of the GATA naysayers as if they ever watch a market. I mean, Thursday, Christmas Eve, quiet was a great day for gold and silver. Both closed on their high, were firm all day, sort of surprisingly so, and nice. And I did my commentary early. Markets, the stock market was closed. Most all the markets were closed except, I think, electronic gold and silver. I finished my commentary, I go for a run, I come back, I click on the machine again, and I see gold's down $2 and silver's knocked down a fair amount, 6 cents. Nobody was around. and I wrote it down at the time and mentioning it today in my commentary and sure enough, today what happens, gold gets hit pretty good and silver just gets clobbered today. And this kind of stuff and tipping off what they're going to do and moving the markets when people aren't around, it's happened for year after year after year, and no other market trades like these two.
So what happened? How did they do this, Bill?
We'll just go in and there's nobody around, so all they do is hit all the bids. And silver was particularly noticeable. And sure enough, today, another fluke, I don't think so, silver goes down 50 cents, which is a huge move. It's down at its lows again, just when it was looking very good and making a pretty good base and getting ready to break out. This has been happening all year, and matter of fact, happening for a couple years.
Bill, you've been covering precious metals manipulation for a number of years now, since 1999, and you were just on the forefront of research during 2001 to 2011, which was the last significant bull market for precious metals. So I wanted to get your thoughts and compare it to the bear market we're seeing now. We know manipulation was going on during that time, but what was different about the bull market compared to the bear market? Was it a controlled rise, or was the fundamentals overwhelming the manipulation which actually allowed gold to go up? Just your thoughts on that.
Well, it's a very good question. And yes, we call it a managed retreat. Gold went up 12 years in a row. And it bottomed when we got ahead of conference in South Africa in 2001 and topped a month after our conference in London, which was an incredible conference. And gold went from 1650 to above 1900. And from then down, it's been 4.5 years of just steady pressure. And for some reason, whether it was due because of all the zero interest rate policy or whether it's because they were going to do all this quantitative easing. They felt it was time to attack gold, to take it off the investment radar screen and to take it to where they have, and they've just been relentless at us. And if you'd have said years ago what the fundamentals would be in terms of all the demand for gold in China and India, and even all the Russian central bank buying it all over the place, and as I said, all this quantitative easing we had and zero interest rates, boy, you would have said gold was going to take off, not get killed, not go down 45%.
Huh.
And that's the degree of the manipulation. Somehow they made this plan, they got enough gold and silver together to be able to carry this off. Now, I'm hoping and theorizing that they're going towards an end game when they're going to run out of physical gold and silver to keep going like they have. And they're going to hit the wall, and they're shooting for an end game and trying to get the specs shorter and shorter and shorter, the most in history, and then pull the plug on them and have the price go way up so they can get out of what they've created here and not get hurt by it too much.
When it comes to the Federal Reserve, the government, the powers that be controlling the economy, we know they've used interest rates. We know they've controlled the price of gold for years now. And as of recently, they've resorted to QE and measures to contain this unsustainable system. And my question is if you foresee anything else or any other lengths that the powers of that be will go to and resort to control the system from bursting at the seams.
It seems to me, then you got the stock market, you got the plunge protection team, which some people know about, and then there's this thing called the Counterparty Risk Management Policy Group, which helps the plunge protection team, boost up the Dow and the rest of the stock market when they want it. And that's been a major effort. If you notice, the Dow has to be one of the biggest top formations. We'll see if it's a top of all time. And every time it dips, it comes back, but it can't keep going. And it's a massive, massive top. And we think that they've tried to hold this together, as you've been talking about. Everyone knows the bond market was manipulated all these years, and of course gold and silver is their linchpin of the whole thing. And eventually it's going to fall apart, and it's going to create a great deal of chaos in our economy and financial market system, because they're not going to be able to pull it off any longer. And I think this is where gold and silver are going to become a big, big deal. And also, this is where the Gada thing is going to come into play, that it's going to be a big, big scandal, because once people realize what they've done and not let free market forces work, and if things fall apart like we think, that's when all heck's going to break loose, and the public is going to want answers. Mm-hmm. And they're going to search for these, and then the press won't, which avoids us now. They don't even want to print our name. We'll have to, cover what we've laid out, because that's going to be what's going to occur in terms of consequences.
Mm-hmm. Bill, would China be ready to break the COMEX, in your opinion, or the current manipulation paradigm, once it feels that they have acquired enough gold reserves?
Well, there's no telling what the real Chinese gold reserve is. It's far bigger than the 1,700 tons they say they have. And, you don't know. It could be a whopping number above that. And when they're ready, yes, they're going to make their move and probably announce the true number that they really have and use it to flex their muscles in the international market. And, who knows? That maybe they're waiting for some sort of chaos to break here in the United States. I don't know. They've got their own issues to deal with, and they don't want to rock their own boat. But, they're just buying, enormous amounts of gold. And it's been tracked by a lot of very smart people. And someday it's going to be huge. The Chinese think longer term than we do. It's just a question of when, and they determined to make that announcement.
And here at home, do you believe the U.S. has the gold reserves it claims it has at 8,000 tons?
Well, most of my colleagues and I don't. We think it's been, you can't sell gold officially in the United States without an act of Congress. However, you can swap gold with a different country and sell their gold. It's a way of getting around what they really want the law to be. And we think that they've gone through much of the physical gold of the United States, yes. And I don't think we have anywhere near the 8,135 tons we say we have.
Bill, I know it's difficult to make predictions, but I want to get your thoughts on what's going on with interest rates and what the likely scenario will be for gold going into 2016. If we do see a liquidity issue, if we do see stock markets sell off and people flood into US dollars, is it likely that precious metals would go even lower from here on out? Just your thoughts on that.
Well, I suppose I'm always bullish, so I don't think so. But yes, anything could happen. I mean, if people have to raise money due to liquidity concerns, you never know. But the odds are that when that kicks in, that at some point in there it could dip shortly, but they're going to have to be printing money like crazy again because they can't afford to have a debacle like that on the downside. And that's when everyone's going to go run back to gold and silver again. And if I'm correct, and it's just a theory, it's no prediction, that they're setting up an end game where they're getting the specs shorter and shorter, and they stop all the rallies, and they're covering, and it says so even in the official commitment of traders' numbers, that they're setting up something when they're going to pull the plug on this thing and try to get out of as many of their short positions as possible, buy a bunch of options, out of the money options, all kinds of things, and to be prepared for something dramatic on the upside. I think that's the more likely scenario. At some point, gold and silver, after all these years of being put in artificially low ground, the way I see it, they're just going to explode, and the next move up won't be a managed retreat. It'll be very volatile.
So that's really interesting. I mean, for them to that'll be them pulling the plug on the currency, right? That would be what ultimately happens, and then them switching their profit motives to precious metals and allowing those positions to go. So do you see that for them being more profitable than just monopolizing the dollar fiat currency system? I mean, or is it going to happen because it's just the manipulation has gone too far and it's going to end ultimately, and they're just going to make the best of it?
It's the latter. They don't want this to happen. The gold and silver, as much money as they're making, ripping off the speculators, is nothing compared to the bond market, stock markets, all kinds of the financial system. And gold is a barometer of U.S. economic health. And, when it goes up, people say something's the matter. It happens, that's the headline all the time. When it's down, it's off the radar screen. So they don't want it to happen. But as you said, that the physical markets are going to seize up on them. They won't be able to carry it out any longer. And so if all of a sudden gold and silver are sharply higher and they can almost make up anything, and the public will believe it and have it there for a reason. It's the rising price constantly where people are pointing that something is wrong. If all of a sudden the prices of gold and silver are going way up for something and they just stop, because a lot of other people would want to sell at that point if you have a quantum leap, then they could make up some reason that it's happened. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but it would make sense to me. All I know is that they're going to, at some point here, they're going to be forced to have to let the prices explode. And as I mentioned earlier, not because they want to, but because they're going to run out of physical to carry on.
So was 2015 a year of record manipulation in the research that you've done?
No, it's been pretty much the same, except to say that the last 3 months, and the reason I talk about this Endgame thing, and I do in my commentary, is that this is the most intense on a day-to-day basis they've been manipulating the market over the past few months that I've ever seen. And it just was relentless. I mean, silver went down 15 days in a row? I mean, you're kidding me.
Yeah, that's only happened like 3 times in history, right?
I don't even know if it's ever happened, but all I know is that it's unbelievable. And so it's been very, very intense, and that's why I think they're doing it in a way to get the speculators shorter and shorter so they can, as you say, pull a plug on them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Bill, It's short and sweet interview. If people want to reach you and find more information on you, where would they go and what will they find?
Well, they can sign up for a 2-week free trial at www.lametropolecafe.com, or they can go to www.gada.org, and Mike Chris Powell does a great job putting out dispatches there, and they can try them both out and see if it's of value to them.
Bill, thanks so much for coming on the show and just sharing your knowledge and just being out there exposing the fraud for what it is.
Well, we do what we can, been at it a while, and we're very fortunate to be healthy and carrying on here. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I went out to Garland, Texas on Saturday, and haven't been out there in forever. And the tornadoes hit, and 11 people were killed right around us, a couple miles away. So everything's relative.
You know what? When it's all said and done, health and life, those are the most important things. And you hit the nail on the head with that. So thanks so much, sir.
All right, Ken. Bye-bye.